Late Sunday evening, it was reported by the Washington Post that the DOJ has apparently uncovered even more evidence that could lead to even more criminal problems for Donald Trump in the ongoing documents case. And it all centers around the communications of one aide to Donald Trump, Molly Michaels. Now, Molly Michaels is an individual who was working at Mar-a-Lago, had classified documents with her, had them backed up onto a computer that I believe was also used by another staffer later on. And now Molly's communications, text messages, emails, all of that, has led the DOJ, which they got that stuff not long ago. It's led them on a new path. A path that could point to very obvious obstruction of justice by Donald Trump. So here's what's happening. Let me just read this. Federal investigators have gathered new and significant evidence that after the subpoena was delivered, Trump looked through the contents of some of the boxes of documents in his home, apparently out of a desire to keep certain things in his possession, the people familiar with the investigation said. Investigators now suspect, based on witness statements, security camera footage, and other documentary evidence, that boxes, including classified material, were moved from Mar-a-Lago storage area after the subpoena was served, and that Trump personally examined at least some of those boxes, these people said. While Trump's team returned some documents with classified markings in response to the subpoena, a later FBI search found more than 100 additional classified items that had not been turned over. Emails and texts of Molly Michael, an assistant to the former president who followed him from the White House to Florida before she eventually left that job last year. Michael's written communications have provided investigators with a detailed understanding of the day-to-day activity at Mar-a-Lago at critical moments. So, Molly Michael was basically keeping an up-to-date, like, oh, here's what's happening, here's this, oh, Trump's looking through boxes. And that, of course, has led them to think, wait a minute, what? Why is he looking through boxes? Why is he doing these things? And of course, the details that Michael was able to provide are more in-depth than that. And it's not just Molly Michaels that has provided these things, of course, most of it via subpoena. It's not like these people are willingly turning it over. But a lot of other staffers, as it was reported recently, the DOJ issued subpoenas to the wait staff, to the housekeepers. They are questioning everybody who may have seen something down at Mar-a-Lago. And now that they've gotten these questions answered, now they're looking at it saying, wait a minute, we may also have obstruction of justice. Now, a bit of caution to this story. Obstruction of justice, as Mike Papantonio has repeatedly said, for the whole 19 years I've been working for him, when investigators start pursuing obstruction of justice, they typically do that, the prosecutors do, when they've got nothing else. So let's hope that they're not only pursuing obstruction of justice. Maybe they're looking at obstruction of justice in order to prove that the taking of the documents in the first place was not accidental and was in fact a criminal act. It's not that they only want to hit him for obstruction of justice, but they want to tie that in to prove that the taking of the documents itself was criminal. So there are different possibilities, of course, based on, Mike's experience and what he's told me. When I see the obstruction stuff, it does kind of send up a red flag that maybe they're at a dead end. But in this particular case, I don't think that is relevant. I just want everybody to know, typically, it's not something you want to see. But there's a lot of unknowns at this point. This investigation obviously still ongoing. It's not even Donald Trump's biggest legal problem today, obviously. But it is something to keep an eye on because that investigation is moving forward very rapidly. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.